innovation doesn't automatically lead to an improvement. Sometimes it can make a situation worse. When you're introducing a new technology, process, or operating model, of course your focus is on its potential value, how it's expected to improve performance, and that's not surprising. After all, that's why you want to introduce it. However, whether that innovation delivers the expected results depends on where you place your focus. When your focus is only on the adoption of the solution before defining your intended outcome story, even a breakthrough innovation like AI can create more complexity, more work, and a solution that doesn't meet your organization's needs. So how do you ensure that that innovation fits your organization rather than forcing your organization to fit the technology? Stay tuned. To understand why an innovation often fails and how to ensure it delivers on its intended value, we need to start with perception. That new technology, process, or any innovation can look very different depending on where you sit in the organization. For example, for you as the leader introducing that innovation, you're looking at it through a lens of strategic priorities, value, market pressures, productivity, and the need to stay competitive. You see opportunity, enhanced performance, and a competitive advantage. Your employees, the people who will do the heavy lifting to embed that innovation, may see something very different. Although they may understand the need and the strategic priority, they're looking at it through a lens of daily operation, current workload, and capabilities. So where you see opportunity, your employees may see risk, disruption, more work, and the loss of familiar expertise. The uncertainty can also trigger a perceived threat to their competency, confidence, and even their professional identity. So what looks like opportunity at the executive table can feel like personal and professional risk to the people expected to adopt the innovation. Neither perspective is wrong. The challenge for you as the leader is not to underestimate or dismiss the alternative perspectives in other areas of the organization as resistance, and instead to take a holistic approach where all perspectives are valid and valued. What a holistic approach allows you to do is to recognize the opportunity while working to minimize the disruption, clarify outcomes, and build the readiness to support adoption. Nothing makes these differing perspectives more visible than the current challenges and opportunities with AI. For you as a leader, AI may represent productivity, better service, reduced cost, increased capacity, and a competitive necessity. However, many employees are struggling to understand its impact. They can see its opportunity, but for them, it carries a higher level of risk. We're already seeing examples of companies that are using AI to reduce their staff. So while you as a leader may be asking, how do we use AI to improve performance and streamline our work and services? Your employees may be asking, will AI replace all or part of my job? And if it does, what does that mean for me? Thus, what often gets labeled as resistance is a normal response to a perceived threat. And this dilemma isn't unique to AI. It can occur with any change you want to make in your organization. Understanding these different perspectives and taking a holistic approach is the first leadership challenge to becoming an innovative, change-ready organization. The second is defining a clear, concrete, and concise intended outcome before deciding on the technology or a particular solution. Instead of asking, how can AI or any other innovation solve the problem? Ask, if this problem didn't exist, what would our organization look and feel like? Because when you lead with a technology, whether it's AI or any other technology, you risk shaping your organization to fit the technology rather than the technology working to support your desired organization. When this happens, not only do employees feel a greater sense of uncertainty, but the technology or innovation may drive unwanted or unintended consequences that make things worse. So to avoid making that mistake, the question to ask is, what are we trying to make possible? Then ask, where does AI or any other innovation fit to make that outcome possible? Several years ago, I worked with a large healthcare organization that was ready to purchase what they considered the industry standard for patient admitting and discharge technology. On the surface, it looked like the obvious choice. The organization had many chronic and long-term patients occupying acute care beds, and it needed a way to better identify patients who could return home sooner or move to a more appropriate level of care. Before selecting the technology, I asked the leaders to pause and suggested they define the intended outcome. So instead of asking, what can this system do for us? They asked, if our admitting and discharge process were working as desired, what would it look like? And once they had that clear picture, they could ask the next question. Where could automation and technology help us achieve that outcome? That process and question changed the request for proposal entirely. The responses revealed vendors and technologies that had not previously been considered or that they were even aware of. Ultimately, the organization selected a system that could be configured to support their desired process rather than forcing the organization to redesign its work around the technology. This is why, to create an innovative, change-ready organization, you must begin with a clear, concise, and concrete intended outcome story. I've created a previous video series on the 6 characteristics of a useful intended outcome story, and you can find the link in the description box below. Your intended outcome story provides a reference point for evaluating whether AI or any innovation fits with your strategic direction, supports your people and processes, and is likely to create meaningful value. It also provides a holistic view that helps build the readiness needed for adoption. So let's look back at the AI example. If you're working with an intended outcome and those multiple perspectives, the first thing you want to do is define what you want to make possible in your organization based on your strategic priorities. Once you've got a clear picture of what you want your organization to look and feel like, then ask, where could AI support and enable us to achieve our intended outcome? What would be different in our work, structure, processes, and capabilities with AI? And where must human judgment, expertise, and those relationships remain essential? Without a clear outcome, you may find that instead of AI solving a problem, it creates work, reduces capacity, and increases complexity. Innovation looks different depending on where you sit in the organization. Leaders see opportunities, employees may see disruption, uncertainty, and increased risk. Thoughtful leadership means recognizing both perspectives and resisting the urge to begin with the technology. Start with a clear intended outcome story. Determine how the innovation supports it and what people will need to become ready. Because the goal isn't simply to introduce something new. It's to choose an innovation that moves your organization towards its desired outcome and enables people to contribute successfully. So I'll leave you with this. Think about an innovation you're leading now. Did you begin with the technology, or do you have a clear outcome of what you're trying to create? And if you'd like some help clarifying your intended outcome story and identifying what will be needed to build readiness, I invite you to schedule a complimentary strategy call. In the next video, I'm going to explore why hesitation around innovation is often mistaken for resistance. That's it for now. I'll see you soon.